Everybody questions why we go through trials and tribulations, and there's nothing but good that comes from it.
We don't question the outcome if we get to see it.
Our trials and tribulations only strengthen our love. It's like it throws gasoline on the love that you have for one another.
Hello and welcome back to The Uncomfortable Truth. Glad to have you today. And we have one of our guests is on the show all of the time, but the other one, is this your first time on the show, Kat?
My first.
Do we want to go by Kat or Kathleen?
Catherine.
Catherine. Definitely not Kathleen.
Kathleen was my middle name.
Oh, that's right.
Was.
He got confused.
I did. I'm confused easily, okay? We know this already. Would you
Just
rather?
Kat.
Just Kat.
Just Kat.
Kat is Shaun's wife. You guys have been married for how many years?
23.
23 years. Now, it's amazing that you've been able to handle and put up with this guy for 23 years. It's probably been a whirlwind.
I'm very grateful and just absolutely blown away that she's been able to put up with me this long. But I'm thankful and I love you.
I love you.
So we had kind of a marriage moment with Courtney and I and Obie and Amy a couple months ago. And we wanted to do the same thing to get different perspectives, because everybody's marriage is a little bit different, right? What works for you guys may not work for us. What works for us may not work for you. And we want to try to take what we've learned over, cumulatively about 45 years of marriage between the two of us, and just see if we can shine any light to the things that maybe we did wrong in the beginning and things that we've changed. So my first question to you guys is, do you remember how you handled arguments when you first got married?
That's a good question. What do you think?
I think it's different than how we handle now.
What would you say that the differences of walk me through an argument first couple years of marriage and then, or we'll call them disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
A disagreement in the first couple years of marriage versus a disagreement now with you guys.
Yeah. One of the things that first comes to mind is whenever we were first married, I always wanted to just we're going to talk about this right now. That was always my solution, right? And Kat always wants some space and wants some time. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I need to think about things. I need to cool down.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of being quick to say things that I probably shouldn't. And
for me, I in the heat of the moment, I would get angry and say things that I shouldn't as well. But I wanted to resolve it immediately. Maybe that's a male thing. You want to fix it now.
That's not that we're the opposite.
Oh, really?
I needed some time.
Yeah.
I would just shut down.
Uh-huh.
I would totally just shut down. I had no words unless they were anger.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to solve it.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
it's kind of
solver. I'm I need this. I need in the moment. If I see a problem, I need to
mm-hmm.
have a resolution to that problem. And so that's where I was no, we need to fix it right now.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how God puts couples together that are
Mm-hmm.
opposite in that way? Because I know it's taught me how to back off and take a deep breath and I feel like it's and I recognize that in Kat. And then also, but for me, I'm okay, it also helps me, I think, to think deeper and okay, what are you going to say, and it forces me to step back, as well. I think it's good, and it's, I think it's beneficial.
I think we've learned a lot over the years. I think Shaun's learned that, whenever I say, just leave me alone, go away.
Mm-hmm.
He's learned to back off and to go away and let me cool down. Let me think about it. Let me think through the situation. And because I feel like a lot of times I probably, I get really heated and, and it's 9 times out of 10, it's over something that shouldn't even bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't even get that upset or that angry at it. But, outward circumstances that were happening during the day, just led to me, it just bothered me tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it probably didn't all have to do with Shaun either.
No. Oh,
it's
absolutely not.
All of these other outside, outside circumstances just build up and build up and build up. And then we talk about this often. Our loved ones get the worst of us.
Yeah.
They're the ones we save that because we have to put this face on for everyone else, and we know that they're always going to be there. They're always going to have that unconditional love. And so it's like we save the worst parts of ourselves for those who love us the most, I guess.
It's unfortunate.
A prime example of that, whenever I heard you say that, I immediately thought about over the years, I don't care if it was my mom, my wife, my kids, whoever, and like we're in a heated argument and we're talking about this and that, and then somebody calls us like, "Hey, how are you today?" And I'm like, "That is so fake. Like, what the heck, you know?"
I'm doing great, man. How are you? Like, what? And your wife's sitting there like, you're an idiot. You're not doing great.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of an argument.
Or your kids call you out. That's ours. Yeah. My kids will say, you talk to so-and-so different than you talk to dad. Or why'd you say it in a high-pitched voice? And dad, you're like, hello, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's the safety and security of knowing somebody's not going anywhere, your spouse, is beautiful. But at the same time, it can be detrimental to how we treat them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, you guys have been together 23 years. How do you know when you guys have an argument now that Shaun's not leaving? I mean, like, leaving for good.
I just know it. I know it in my heart. I know he loves me, and I don't know.
Did you know that?
I just know he wouldn't leave me. I mean, I don't know.
Are you more secure in that now than you were when you were first married?
Absolutely.
What has changed to make you feel more secure?
I think we've grown. We've learned more about each other intimately, and I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, gosh, it's like, I don't know if it's just repetitive trust, of what, just every situation. I mean, it's like when you walk through the fire with somebody and you're like, and that person has your back at all costs, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no matter what, I know that this person's going to be here to pull me out of the fire, and that, I really feel like that's a massive reason why we go through these trials and tribulations, that like God allows us to walk through these massive arguments or these massive trials and tribulations that our kids go through. And then like we are able to handle those things together. And, I think that that's where our bond just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I really feel like that's the way God, made it. And
I was going to say it's a very similar picture of our relationship with the Lord, because we are the bride of Christ, and he created that relationship for us to mirror with our husbands and wives. And when you go through the fire, like you're saying, and you have that history, like I look at my relationship with the Lord and I'm like, I have made some really, really awful mistakes, and he hasn't abandoned me and failed me. And so going through some of the same very similar mistakes with my husband, he hasn't abandoned me and he hasn't left me. So I think you go back to the history that you have and knowing like I've walked through the fire, they've loved me through it, they've walked me through it, and now here we are again. I think that's where the confidence, and I don't want to use the word contentment in marriage, but just like that, I'm confident in where we're at because I know what we've been through, and he hasn't abandoned me.
Yeah, and I think, like, Kat, to your point of in the beginning, you didn't feel that secure. I think that's a feeling that Courtney and I both had as well. And I don't want to project that to everybody out there, but in the beginning, you're building your relationship and you're figuring each other out, and you've moved out of your parents' home or your own place where you lived alone, and now you're sharing a life with somebody else. And it's just different. There's a lot of adjustment. And they say it's the first 7 years of marriage. Like if you make it through that, those are the hardest times. I've even heard year 7 is the hardest year of marriage. But every one of those things that you go through that are hard, it's not the easy times that bind you together. It's the absolute just breaking down, laying on the floor crying times that you went through the hardest things that you've ever been through together. And those may have been caused by each other.
Right.
And you have to figure out how to manage conflict without pushing each other away constantly.
Yeah.
What have you guys done in your marriage as far as like your relationship with Christ? Like, what would you recommend? If you're speaking to a young couple today that's kind of struggling, they're in year 2 or 3 of their marriage. What would you recommend to them as far as like how to bond together, how to become closer, how to work together more?
The first thing that Kat and I have practiced ourselves and that has really, I feel like, created the strongest bond ever. And the advice that we also give to our children is to pray together and to go to church together, read scripture together, um, just in every single day. And I know that the first time that Kat and I prayed together, I felt really, really awkward.
Mhm.
How long ago did y'all start that
I think it was
habit?
probably 5 or 6 years ago, don't you think? Um,
Probably,
maybe
maybe, I don't know, gosh, maybe, it seems like maybe right around COVID, maybe
Mhm.
right before COVID, maybe a year or two before COVID,
mhm. Yeah.
maybe.
Which for us, COVID was a big trial and tribulation that we went through. And I remember Kat's dad would call and pray with us whenever we both had COVID. We had it pretty bad.
Yeah, you were
And
down. I remember you being like really
mhm.
down.
I was down, and Kat was too, for about 12, anywhere from 12 to 15 days.
It was
Um,
a long time.
It was at the beginning of COVID too, when people were still scared of like because you saw people dying and there was a
Well,
lot.
it was when that, I guess they were saying it was the Delta variant came
Mhm.
out, and we had a couple of friends that we knew from our area that they were on ventilators. One actually died. He didn't survive. Um, there were two other young guys from the
Carthage.
community or
They,
in and around our community that died. And I mean, we up
in,
until
in
that
the
It hit
point,
close to home.
this is while
yes,
we had
well, this
it.
is while we had it, and up
Eh,
to that point, our kids had it, but as far as we knew, we had never had it, and
Mhm.
it's probably the sickest that I'd ever been in my entire life.
Mm.
And I
Did
mean,
y'all have it at the same time?
yes,
Okay.
yes, we
Yeah.
got it at the same time, and
So
so
who runs the family when mom and dad are down?
um, pretty much our kids
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, luckily, our youngest was what, 6th grade,
Mhm.
going into the 6th grade. So, I mean, she's pretty self sufficient.
Mhm.
We pretty much quarantined her to her room, said
Mhm.
stay away.
Yes, don't get
Um,
this.
Mhm.
and I mean, she's able to fix food for herself. And we had
Which
lots of people bringing and dropping us off food
Mhm.
at the door. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, there was plenty
Yeah.
for her to.
Why would you say, Shaun, that was one of the biggest trials for you
mm,
and Kat?
so I just remember whenever I was on YouTube every single day. I remember just listening to doctors, and this is what you do, and you sit up, and you don't lay down flat. That's the worst thing you can do for your lungs. And I remember going out and like walking up and down the
Yeah,
driveway,
get
and
outside, get some
yeah,
sun.
and constantly like staying outside. But
Probably
Kat was
feeling
so sick.
exhausted at the same time.
Yeah, oh, I was exhausted. I remember walking up to, going into COVID. I was probably in some of the best shape. I was probably in the best shape of my life. I mean, like, and what I mean by that is I could have ran 3 miles, no problem,
Mhm.
going in. But I can remember after about day 5 or 6, walking up and down the driveway. And when I get back up to the top of the driveway, which we had about a 75-yard long driveway, I was sucking eggs. I was just like, and I remember thinking, man, this is not good. Like something, this is hitting me. And then I remember when I lost my taste and I couldn't taste anything. And then I didn't want to eat anything. I had no appetite. I just remember thinking, man, this is rough. Well, about day or 11, I guess it was day 11 or 12, maybe. I remember I'm still running fever. I've dropped like 18 pounds, and my skinny butt don't need to be losing 18 pounds. And I just remember thinking, man, I I don't know if this is going to take a turn for the worse or not. I went to the ER 2 times, got chest X-rays, and Kat hadn't gotten as bad as I was yet, but she was on the decline. And I remember getting down on my knees in my closet and pleading with God, and I was just like, God, and I started crying, and I was like, God, I know this is not the last chapter of my life for you. I just know it. And I just remember getting very, very emotional and just praying to God. I was like, God, I need you to heal me, and I need you to heal my wife. And and it was like the most authentic plead that I've ever had in my
Yeah.
life. And I guess about 2 days later, my fever finally broke, but I was running fever every day. Well, it would leave for a second and then it would come back, leave for a second. Well, it finally broke and didn't come back. And but Kat had taken a decline for the worst. I believe it was like a day or two before that. I had to pick her up off the floor. She had woke up in the middle of the night. Um, Tell them a little bit about
Well,
what you went through.
I remember waking up and I felt really sick, and
What were your symptoms?
I just fever, which I don't run fever. Gosh, before then, I think the last time I had ran fever was whenever I was pregnant with our first. So like 20 years I hadn't run a
Wow.
fever, and I was miserable and horrible, 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 horrible cough. And anyway, and just ate all over nonstop. Nothing touched it. And anyway, but I remember waking up and just felt horrible. And I got up to let our dog out. And I just, I mean, it was dark in our room, but I could tell it was getting darker.
Yeah.
And I went back to the bed and I don't remember what happened.
Mm.
I think I passed out and I hit my head on the wall behind us. And anyway, but also, I take blood pressure medicine and I'd been taking blood pressure. I continued
Right.
while I was sick. And I think because I wasn't eating, I wasn't really drinking anything, I got dehydrated and
She was as white as a
I,
sheet.
I was just
And
clammy.
I remember
And
trying to take your blood pressure. I don't know if you
couldn't get it
remember
to
that, but I
read.
couldn't get a reading.
Mm.
And we
And it
tried and tried and
scared
tried.
me.
And anyway, I remember, so our oldest daughter was in College Station at the time. And so she was not even there. And then our middle daughter, she had volleyball camp. Well, they had allowed her to go get one of those rapid tests or whatever. And
Okay.
as long as she was negative and she didn't come back to the house, they allowed her to go.
Okay.
So anyway, she was not even home. So it was just our London,
Mhm.
who was probably, I don't know, I don't even know how old you are in the
Mhm.
6th grade. But we
13.
called my mom, and my mom came and sat in the driveway in her car while Shaun and I went to the ER at like 3 in the morning. But my parents hadn't had COVID. They didn't want to come in.
Hmm.
And so we woke London up and told her where we were going and that Nana was sitting in the outside in the car if she needed anything to go get her. And anyway, I think Shaun and I were pretty sight for sore eyes in the ER. We were both burning up with fever. They wouldn't give me a blanket. They were giving me fluids and they were cold
Yeah.
and I was shivering, and I made Shaun get up in the daggum stretcher with me because he was hot and
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
And I was like, please
Will you
come be my blanket.
be my blanket?
Laying on top of her legs, trying to warm
Yes,
her
I
up.
was shaking so bad. And I mean, I think it was probably pretty pathetic looking
No.
to say
So
the
that's
least.
the true image of like in sickness and in health.
Yes, absolutely.
Both being sick.
I've never thought about that,
Yeah,
but you're exactly
it-
right.
Mhm.
I really think that was because we were both so sick, and it was kind of scary
Mhm.
because I was like, I'd never seen him that sick, and then I'd never been this sick either. And then here we are at the same time, and we had people we knew dying,
Mhm.
and we're like, oh my gosh,
What
like, it was
thoughts? What thoughts
scary.
were going through your head, Kat? Like when you're that sick, like obviously you're scared, but why? What are you the most scared of in that moment of like, I don't know what's going to happen?
What's gonna happen? How if something happened to me? what's going to happen to my kids?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how's this going to affect them? And, you know, like, I mean, of course we know, you know, who was going to take care of them if worse came to worse, but nevertheless, you know, how's this going to affect them? And I got to be here for my kids, and I want to be here for my kids. I want to see my kids get married. I want to see them graduate college, graduate high school. I want to see grandkids. You know, I want to see all that, and I want to be there for them. And I think that was probably the hardest thing and the scariest thing, is not knowing, because nobody really knew
Right. I
back
was going to
then.
say it was a
It
I
was
lot.
mean,
just all, it was all
it was a
fear.
lot of unknown. And whenever you see people that you know struggling and on ventilators that are your age,
Mhm.
you're just like, oh
What's
my
gonna,
gosh, you know, this could be me.
yeah, what's going to
And
happen to me?
I got to do everything I can for it not to be me. And,
Mhm.
or Shaun,
Spooky.
That
Yeah,
is
it's-
spooky.
know-
So the question started. We're going to circle back. The question started with like, how would you recommend a young couple growing with each other? You guys, Shaun, you mentioned one thing: praying together. So you guys go through one of the hardest times in your marriage, maybe the hardest, of being that sick and not knowing what's going to happen. It feels like it created a route like to the Lord.
Mm.
Over the past 5 years, as you guys have prayed together and walked together in your relationship with the Lord, how has that changed your marriage?
It's only strengthened our marriage. I feel like our marriage is stronger now than it's ever been. I don't think there's any better way to put it. It's and it's been because of our trials and tribulations. And um, I can remember, you know, it's all about the trials and tribulations,
Yeah.
man. It's everybody questions why we go through trials and tribulations, and there's nothing but good that comes from it. I
Yeah,
mean,
we don't question the outcome if we get to see it.
you're so refined by it,
Mhm.
you know, and I think about all the things that happen in this world, you know, and how you know, the trials and tribulations that are going on in this nation right now, like the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and how, you know, I know I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but that caused a gasoline to be thrown on the fire of what he
Right.
stood for. Well, our trials and tribulations only strengthen our love. It's like it throws gasoline on the love that you have for one another, right?
It's a good fire.
It's a good fire, and it's like you know, it not only strengthens your faith, it strengthens your marriage, and it makes you understand, um, gosh, what is our purpose here on earth, you know, and you get to pass down this legacy, you know, and you get to have these children, and you get to teach them, hey, it's okay to go through trials and tribulations. It's okay to argue. It's okay to, you're going to have tough times, you know, and we have, I know we haven't talked about this yet, but we have two children that one has already gotten married this year, and we have another one getting married in 2 weeks. And
Yeah, I want to really dig into that in a minute
Yeah.
because that's something that a lot of us haven't experienced yet.
and you know, for us, it's like now we have this knowledge, and that we wouldn't have had otherwise if it hadn't have been for our trials that we, you know, in the fire that we were able to walk through, that created this rock solid bond, that really, you know, God wanted us to have that from day one, right?
Hmm.
And we only acquired that through our trials. And so I would encourage any young person, young couple, you know, and if I was trying to mentor them or whatever, to embrace your trials and tribulations, and understand that God has a bigger plan, and understand that, you know, Romans 8:28 is true. You know, all things work together for good for those who love him, you know, according to his purpose. And it's a real thing. And whenever you see that come to fruition in your own marriage,
Mhm.
it just, it's powerful and it's exciting.
As Shia LaBeouf put it, walking with Jesus is like a suffering hack. You know that what you're going through is going to produce fruit
Mhm.
for the Lord. And so we can go through it with joy. He talks about that. Is it James 1? Consider it
Pure joy.
pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, for they will produce steadfastness,
Perseverance.
perseverance. Yes, something I think that's James 1:2. Kat, when Shaun comes to you and how did he presented the idea of like praying together? Maybe it was your idea. What were your thoughts of like praying together every night? That that maybe seems weird, or like I'm all in, or like what were your thoughts when you guys started initially doing that?
It was a little, it was like he said, a little awkward at first, but we also were in a small group at the time, and that was something that we were kind of everybody was talking about, and that we should, as couples, we should pray together, we should read the Bible together, and I mean, we had done that, from time to time, occasionally, but for the most part, it wasn't together, like before we go to bed, or we even now pray before we go to bed, but we also pray in the morning
Mhm.
when we wake up.
I love that.
And anyway, like, it was kind of weird at first, but I think that it totally it makes us more, I don't know, vulnerable maybe to things that are going on with each other and
Does it
in
open a
our
line of communication of things that maybe you wouldn't get to or wouldn't talk about on a normally? Not that you're trying to hide stuff from each other, but we all have lives and we all do a lot of stuff every day. I know that you guys do. You have a lot of stuff going on. Does that in those intentional moments do they open a window into each other's soul of things that you might not get to otherwise?
Absolutely, I believe so.
I think so too. I
Mhm.
think so too. Like,
Yeah, it definitely deepens the intimacy in your relationship, and you get to see a side of your spouse that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
S-
agree. I don't, I feel like a lot of times that like I'm not a very open person. I don't open up to a lot of people. I don't talk about my feeling, the way I feel about stuff, but I think it opens up a channel for me to be able to express that to him,
Yeah.
and he gets to see, like if we want to pray about a certain thing, and I tell him, I think we need to pray about this, then, it might not be something that I might communicate how I feel about it to him, but he knows that it's
Yeah.
something that is on my mind
Mhm.
and something that I'm thinking about and praying about personally. And
I think that's great. When
Mhm.
as we grow in marriage, part of the maturity is placing value on what our spouse thinks is important. Now, we might not naturally, as a guy, find it very important if our spouse is in a little spat with their friend. As a guy, in our head, it's just be like, just tell them, like, you hurt me, whatever, and move forward. That's not what fixes those situations. We found out, right? But
Yeah.
really placing value and say, I love you. I'm here to walk through it. Listen, be here with you in this moment that is tough for you. And the closer you get when they're hurt, it affects your soul as well.
It's true.
And we want to be there with them. Kat, you mentioned earlier that you're not typically going to open up. You're not typically going to be vulnerable. Is that just who you feel like you are? You keep things close? Is there something that happened to you in your life where you're just not going to be vulnerable with other people? Have you narrowed that down at all?
never really thought about it, gave it a whole lot of thought. So maybe it's more just who I am.
Yeah.
I'm just not, I've kind of just always kept kind of things to myself, and I'm not a very outgoing. I'm more of an introvert.
Yeah.
So I try to figure things out on my own.
Hmm.
And anyway, I don't know. I just feel like that I'm not good. Sometimes I feel like I'm not good
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
opening up to people because there's maybe I don't even know the reason why I feel the way I do, and maybe that's why
Okay.
I don't, because I'm unsure myself.
Yeah.
And
Was there a space like growing up that like your parents created for you guys to have that open communication? Or do you feel like it was everybody just kind of, this is what's going on, we all deal with it, carry on?
I don't, whenever I was growing up, I'm the oldest of two or of three. I have a brother and a sister. And, being the oldest, usually the oldest are a little bit more independent, and I can remember like being in elementary school and my brother and my sister also being, like kindergarten age and maybe like third grade or so. And, they struggled with school and they struggled with reading. And back then, spelling tests were like, the weekly thing. Everybody had a spelling test and everybody had spelling words. And, and I can remember my mom and my dad having to, one would take one and one would take the other. And they would they would spend hours trying to get through spelling words or trying to read, whatever it was. And fortunately, school came easy for me, but maybe some of that may be the reason why I kind of had to figure it out on my own because, my brother and sister, they needed the help. I didn't.
You didn't require the attention because you could figure it out.
I didn't. So,
I needed a tutor for every subject.
And I am not smart. Like, I'm not valedictorian smart or anything. School was an easy thing for me. And, I had, there were classes I struggled in. Like, I got to high school and I struggled in geometry but I still was able to figure it out. And I just didn't need the extra help that my siblings required. But I think some of that sometimes might have played into the reason why I just, I kind of just stick to myself and try to figure it out myself. And
you feel like that created some mechanisms in your life of like, I know that these people my siblings need more of the people that I love the most than I do. And so what I can do for this family is just figure it out on my own.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's carried on over into my adult life. And it's good, but it's also bad. It also has its drawbacks.
Yeah, the best parts of us are oftentimes the worst parts of us.
Yes.
It's like you can be set over here and given a task and figure out, you work on all the books at Antler Works and do a lot of stuff to keep that company going that nobody else could. And so you just figure it out.
Yes.
Where other people might need a lot more help.
Yes. And
Shaun, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. I was just saying, I think that that's also where, like Shaun and I, we've worked together at Antler Works since pretty much whenever our youngest was 3. He came in and he was like, I was a nurse working at the hospital at the time, and he was just like, I can't take these kids to school. And at the time, we had one in middle school, one in elementary, and then London going to daycare. He was like, I can't get them up, get them ready, take them to 3 different places, pick them up at different times, take them to dance, take them to cheer, take them to whatever, and then bring them home, do homework, and feed them.
He was playing the Mr. Mom role.
Absolutely, because whenever I was working at the hospital, I would work a 12-hour shift. I was gone before they woke up, and a lot of times I was not home until London was already in bed.
12 hours would turn into 14.
It would turn into 14 hours, with driving back and forth and everything. It would turn into a long day. And Shaun was like, I need you to decide, if you want to keep working, that's fine. We need to hire a nanny. Otherwise, I want you to stay home and help me at home. So I stayed. I was like, I'm not working to pay for a nanny. These are my kids. I'm going to stay home with them. I've missed, for the first, 10 years of our marriage, I missed Thanksgiving every single year because I had to work.
Yeah, you would choose Thanksgiving so she didn't have to miss Christmas.
I would choose Thanksgiving over Christmas because I didn't want to miss Christmas. But nevertheless, I didn't get to have Thanksgiving. My kids and Shaun would bring me a Thanksgiving meal after everybody had eaten. They would bring me a plate to the hospital and sit with me in the break room while I ate my turkey and dressing. But I mean,
makes
like,
my heart hurt.
I know. I know.
I act like it's a sob story, but it's not. I
You
mean,
were compromising. You were making
people
compromises.
make those choices all day,
Mhm.
every day, they have to, and it's what they do. But I was fortunate enough and blessed enough that God gave me an out and allowed me to be able to come home and stay at home and spend the last 2 years with London at home before she went off to kindergarten. And, I feel like that,
So yeah, that was 14 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to believe.
But I feel like that, I don't even know where I'm going with this
Yeah,
now.
well, we were
But-
just, just talking about,
Navigating life choices.
yeah.
Shaun, I feel like
Yeah.
you're like probably one of the most open guys that I know. Like if you think that you might have hurt somebody, you're gonna call. It doesn't like it's not awkward to you. You're gonna call them and be like, "Dude, did I offend you or did I hurt you? If I did, I'm sorry."
Mhm.
Or you're gonna bring something up if it's on your mind. Kat, you're kind of keep it to yourself. I'm just gonna try to figure it out inside. When you put those two personalities together, y'all's, how have y'all figured out how to navigate each other's tendencies on how you handle any problems or just communication in general?
Yeah. I think that one of the big things that I'm guilty of, and it's not a good thing, is I feel like I handle adversity and problems better than Kat. And because of that, there's lots of times I won't even tell her if I'm going through a certain thing or if something's going on with one of our businesses at the Airbnb. And then later, she's like, "You never told me that." And I think that it's not, I truly believe that I'm not trying to keep something from her, but I'm
just
just
trying
like,
to protect me.
I'm just like, there's no
Okay.
reason,
If you can handle it.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm very good at squashing it, and knocking it out and resolving the issue pretty quickly and just not even mentioning it because lots of times it's not even worth, if it's going to stress her out some, I don't feel like I get it stressed out a whole lot, and
How do you and Kat handle like if you're trying to get like if you know something's bothering her and her tendency is to keep it in, how do you navigate?
fish that out.
How do you fish that out? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you Kat, you're laughing. I like we're getting somewhere now.
Sorry to interrupt. Have y'all done the Enneagrams at all?
Oh, I have.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
did.
Have you done them?
Six.
I would like, if you have, I'd like to hear about that.
I don't remember what. Do
Oh.
you remember what I am?
6, swing 2.
I'm a
think I'm a
stone cold 3.
7-something.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I think
what I was.
it seems like you were like an
I don't remember.
8 or a 9 or maybe a 6. I can't remember.
I
It seemed
don't
like you were
remember.
two different. You were two different
I
numbers.
I feel like I fell into really two different ones. I think I remember that.
I remember it describing me as like as an entrepreneur in America, like an alcoholic living above a saloon.
I mean, I totally see that.
I think I felt like Shaun's was pretty spot on. Like he like totally fit the description. I just remember when we did mine, I kind of felt like I had attributes into more than one, and I didn't
it was
really.
too different.
I don't really remember just really falling in to just one. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
I do remember it was a couple of different molds, and mine was like a hardcore 3.
Yeah.
All right. 3, achiever, performer, core desire to be successful and admired, core fear, failure, or being seen as worthless, quick summary, energetic, image conscious, and goal driven, may tie self worth to achievements. What were you, babe?
6.
6, the loyalist guardian, core desire to have security and support, core fear, being without guidance or protection, quick summary, loyal, responsible, and cautious, may struggle with anxiety or overthinking.
that sounds like
that's
you for
that's
sure.
yeah, and that's definitely part of you too. I think you were a 6 and maybe a 9. I
don't
just
remember.
there was 2 different ones. 6 was one of them.
Mhm.
I think mine was 7 2. My 7 is the enthusiast, adventurer, core desire to be happy and satisfied, core fear, being trapped in pain or boredom. Yes. Quick summary, fun loving, spontaneous, future focus, can avoid discomfort or commitments. That's me. All right. Do you remember? Do we remember what you think you were?
It was either
The
8 or
six.
9.
8 is the challenger. 9 is the peacemaker.
Um,
Challenger to be in control, protect themselves.
That was it.
Fear. The fear is being weak or vulnerable. Quick summary. Strong, assertive, and decisive may come off as intimidating or domineering.
I think that was. I think it was an 8.
I think it was a combination of 2.
Yeah,
it was,
I
but
think
that was one of them.
I do feel like because okay, so back to like growing up, in school I was really shy. I didn't talk a lot, and I was just not very outgoing. And anyway, I kind of blossomed out of that a little bit in college, and I did have our oldest, which is not Shaun's biologically. I have Madison. Whenever I had her, whenever I was 24, and actually I was 23. I turned 24 right before she was born, I guess. But being a single mom for I think really 2 years. Madison was about 18 months old when we first started talking.
Were you a nurse at that time too?
Yes. I graduated 37 weeks pregnant with
Lord.
Maddie for nursing school.
Nice.
That is like a major
I didn't even
achievement.
walk. We had our pinning ceremony the day before graduation, and I got the flu and was so sick with the flu and coughing with this huge belly that did not work very well. And so I stayed at home. And anyway, but being a single mom, I guess I developed this mother bear, this mama bear, attitude. And because I had to protect my daughter because I had to, and I had a responsibility. And I think that is where some of that probably number 8 kind of comes in, because I think I got a lot more assertive, and I wanted to be in control of everything. And I still feel like I'm that way too a lot. I don't like to be out. I don't like to feel like a situation is out of control. I don't like that. And if nobody else is going to control it, I'm going to control it. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to control it, which I guess is more of my I'm going to figure it out mentality. Yeah. But I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to do it. And I think I have a lot of strong opinions too on certain subjects, and I'm not willing, and I'm not that I'm not willing, but I'm reluctant to back down on.
And I feel like that's kind of where she capitalizes on my weaknesses, and because there's lots of times I'll turn to her, and I don't know if you've ever heard the old saying, behind every good entrepreneur is a good woman, and I can definitely attest to that. I mean, I know that there's been so many times where I don't stop until I hit a brick wall, and
like a real brick wall.
Yeah.
Like you can't figure out how to get
That's
to
right.
it.
Point me in the right direction, and I'm going to go till I hit a brick wall. Like, I'm going to make it happen. Like, I feel like it's in my bones or my DNA to not quit. And I have my wife to kind of pull the reins back on me and say, hey, look, that's more conservative, more protective mode. Like, hey, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be stupid, or we're not going to do, it's not I've definitely been guilty of the shiny object syndrome over the years.
Raising my hand over here as well. Very much guilty of that.
Probably over the years, I think we probably have maybe 5 or 6 active LLCs. We've probably had 18 LLCs over the years. So that just shows you how many things that have not worked that we tried, and companies that didn't work out, and maybe not that many, but it's up there.
Yeah.
And that's all because of me, and 100%. She never, but
1,000%.
Yeah, 1,000%. So whenever you think about that, yeah, we had somebody
somebody commented.
reached out and said, "Yeah, if y'all need to get a hat because Shaun says 1,000%
And
show
you,
money.
listen, it's
Y'all need to get some merch and
it's-
like says
That's
it's
awesome.
1,000%.
1,000%.
Yeah,
Not 100,
Yeah.
1,000.
yeah,
That's awesome.
and but yeah, yeah, no question.
Back to the question of, okay, I want to help a newly married couple when the husband asks his wife what's wrong, and the wife says nothing's wrong, and he's like, I know something's wrong with you, and she says, leave me alone, nothing's wrong with me. You guys have probably navigated that. How is a healthy way for you guys, when you mentioned earlier trying to fish something out of her, what is a healthy way that you found that works in that moment when you know something's bothering her? And then, Kat, I want you to attest, like, did it actually work or not?
That's a hard question. I don't really. I mean, like, I can't think of like just a solid instance or a. I don't know, man. I mean, I just go and sit
know.
down. I go.
Okay, listen, hey, she knows the answer.
I
Let's
know.
let her answer.
Usually you come at me with food.
Okay, this is real
you're
life.
like, let's go eat.
This is
I
real
love
life.
to eat. I love to go out to eat.
Okay,
And he's not going to argue. He knows that if we're going to go out to eat, he knows what I like.
yeah,
And I know he gets tired. We live in a smaller town that doesn't have a whole lot of places, a whole lot of options. But I mean, he knows that he can take me somewhere that's going to have a good steak,
Mhm.
and that's going to like he's
Open
going to he's going to feed me,
It's gonna
and
open her heart.
Open the door.
yes, it's going to open my heart, and I'm gonna eat something, and I'm gonna feel better, and I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm better now. We can talk about it.
Mhm.
Baby, I still love you.
that's okay. That's comical, but that is such a
So
testament.
relational.
Yeah,
You can relate with that.
to really getting to the root is like figure out how our wives feel loved
That's true.
and do that for them, and then allow them a moment, and they'll come around.
Yeah, there's
think
absolutely something else too.
I
If I go ahead,
Well, hold on. I think it was that way especially whenever our kids were younger, because I'd been dealing with the kids all day long. You know, if it was summertime or even if they were in school, I would still I've been doing either had to do homework, been taking them everywhere or whatever, and all week long, and just stress. And while he was at work and he'd go to lunch with people, and
You
You
felt
know,
like he was on vacation.
and I was like, oh my gosh, like, dude,
Just get home.
you're going to lunch again with somebody. Like, can you bring me some food or something? Because I'm tired of eating a sandwich every day. But like, I feel like that was even more so a way for him to get me to like loosen up and to open up about what's bothering me, because I was stressed out from being the mom
Mhm.
and having those parental responsibilities to take care of the house, cook dinner, do everything for the kids, while a lot of times it felt like to me he was out, and sure, he's working and he's paying all the bills and he's bringing home all the money, but sometimes it looked a lot more glamorous.
Mhm.
That's doing that than staying at home and not getting to put your makeup on that day, or
Not hearing a mom 7,000 times.
yes,
a
not
day.
hearing mama, can I do this?
Do you remember the times like driving in the vehicle and it's like, Dad, 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 and you're like, what up? What's
One-
up? What's up, dude? Pause. Dad, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm gonna go.
I can remember my dad growing up saying, "Son, if you say Dad one more time, or when are we going to be there? I'm going to pull this car over and wear you out."
Yes. So you guys have been through something that we haven't been through yet, and I would imagine a lot of married couples. You had one daughter just get married not too long ago. You have another one getting married in a month,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. How would you recommend navigating that? You got money flying out everywhere. You got your two daughters, so the two daughters one has gotten married, one's about to get married. You got money flying out everywhere. You have decisions happening all over the place. You have a young lady that is planning and wants everything to be perfect. You want to help her achieve that vision, and it's just stressful. How have you guys navigated that well, and maybe not so well? What would be your advice?
Start saving now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
You can
Okay.
never have enough
Yeah.
for
And
that. I mean, because
get a wedding fund. I mean,
yeah,
every time I start my truck and that phone rings, it's another $1,000 that flies out the door. I just throw it out the back. The
I'm-
tailpipe just
Bro,
blows another
I'm just
$1,000 out.
gonna start following you around.
no kidding.
I don't even. It's kind of hard to prepare for it. I mean, you're just like, oh, okay, really, like a wedding fund, and
Well, do you set like a budget? So, like when I got married, of course, grew up on a teacher coaching salary, and my mom was a supervisor for an electric company. But it was like, this is the amount of money that we have. And if you want to go over that,
you can
that-
pay for it.
that's exactly. So, is that what do parents do that now?
Well, Tommy came
So-
to me when we were getting married, and he's like, "Hey, if you can talk her into just eloping, I think he said 10
It
grand.
was 10,000.
I got 10 grand for you." And I was like, "Bro, I'll try, but I don't think it's going to happen."
I tried with both of my kids. I did
Mhm.
mention that to them in the
Yeah.
pool that day. It's difficult today more than ever. Okay, and the reason why is because of social media.
Okay.
Everything's a production.
I have not thought about this.
Oh, it's a big
It
deal
is a
because
big
your
deal.
kids, whenever they decide that they're going to get married, what are they going to do? They're going to immediately go to TikTok, type in weddings, this and that,
Mhm.
and there's going to be all these lavish productions. What's the enemy of stealing your joy? What is it like? Thief?
Comparison's the thief.
So comparison's the thief, right?
Mhm.
So they're looking at all these people in New York, and their parents are hedge fund people and all this, and they're spending $350,000 on a wedding.
Mhm.
And they're like, hey, and then they're Googling what the average wedding cost in the United States. I mean, this happened to me. My
Okay.
kids are like, here's what the average wedding is, Dad. This is blah, 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 this and that. And the days of getting married in churches
Mhm.
is no longer a thing, which is how we got married.
Oh.
I think it was like $300 to rent the church. $300.
Oh, I don't think
You know-
we even had to rent the church.
It might have been free.
If you were a member,
Maybe
it was
$300 was
probably
the
I think that might have
preacher.
been what we paid. What we paid.
Brother Wade Duck.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, as it relates to like these venues, and there's venues everywhere in East Texas, and even if you choose a destination wedding where let's fly to Cabo, or let's fly to wherever, that's expensive. In
yeah.
fact,
In
our
fact,
daughter's on a
yeah.
plane right now as
Yes,
we speak,
headed to Cabo.
heading to
our-
Cabo, and it cost. She's just a bridesmaid, and it cost her and her husband $4,000 to go.
Have mercy.
Yeah,
Oh, my
It's not.
goodness.
It's not cheap. These
No.
weddings. We were a little, like we kind of had it in our mind.
We're in the wrong house.
What we were wanting to spend,
Okay.
and what we thought was a good amount
Yeah.
to spend, and we got sticker shock whenever we started going to these visiting venues and
wedding dresses.
the dresses,
venues.
the catering, that stuff,
Videography, a
videography,
DJ,
all that stuff. I mean, it piles on
the cake.
with a quickness. It just, I mean, we were at 25, 30 grand, and we were not choosing the most expensive places. We were
Yeah.
choosing, kind of, average price, even some lower priced things. And it did not take long at all.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
add
like
up.
renting the, so like at Lexi's wedding, there's going to be 250 to probably 250 people at that wedding. And like, so to go rent what do they call those plates?
Oh, the little chargers.
The little
that go-
chargers. To rent the chargers was more expensive than just buying the chargers.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
just bought them on Amazon.
Mhm.
After calling some rental places, we're like, well, we'll just buy them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why?
And then you
why?
can turn around and resell them
Yeah. I mean,
afterwards.
Yeah,
It's-
so there are little things like that, like
and we could use them
centerpieces and-
twice.
Mhm.
It would make it made more sense to use them twice. And then then you got your kids. Well, I don't want what she had at her wedding. And I mean,
Everything
I'm
has
like,
to be
Oh,
different.
and if you have two daughters getting married, they're
they're
comparing.
comparing.
Yeah, Lexi's
okay.
like, well, Madison had this, and I'm like, come on, like we're not
Yeah.
playing that.
We're-
We're not
Yeah.
doing that.
Listen, we're
Right.
trying. We
Yeah.
are
Dude,
trying.
It's been an eye opener for sure.
Has it
'cause,
caused any tension
Praise
on
God,
y'all's
it's
relationships?
almost over.
no, I don't really think so. I mean, it's of course, Shaun. I think Shaun more so had an idea of how much to spend, and his amount was way, way
Off.
off.
Okay.
And I think I kind of had a little bit more, but being a girl and I like, we've also, some of our kids' friends have gotten married, and I've talked to the moms and to kind of see, what can we expect?
Yeah.
And anyway, so I mean, I think we've done good on them, and we basically told them this is how much we're willing to spend. We have to keep it. We need to keep it as close to this as possible, and so I need you to help us
Mhm.
keep it right there. And I think for the most part, our kids were really good about it. Lexi, she's younger. She's about to graduate from Texas Tech, and she doesn't have her career yet. Maddie, she's already established. She's already, she has a job and she's established in her career. And
So their values of
so
dollar bills is
yes,
different.
it is different. And Maddie and her fiance, or her now husband, they were able to chip in. So if there
Ah.
was something extra that they really, really, really wanted, but we were like, no, we're not doing that. If y'all want to do that, that's fine. You can
Mhm.
do it, but you're going to pay for it. That was okay for them. It's a
Mhm.
little bit different for our younger one. They're not in the same, like, I guess,
Stage of life.
that Maddie
Mhm.
and Garrett were.
Mhm.
So, but I know even though they're younger, they're like the old couple. They've been together since they were high school sweethearts.
Okay.
Gosh, they started dating, I think, Lexi's freshman year. And, I mean, they have different goals than Maddie and Garrett, and they're different. And so we try to navigate, keep them separate, let them each have their own. It is their wedding day, and I want it to be something special for them. But at the same time, we don't need to. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have to have, a big,
So yeah,
All-
big,
if you don't want it to
huge, all the
sting,
bells and whistles.
if you don't want it to sting, go ahead and put start a wedding fund for
Yeah.
for any if you have more than one daughter, two daughters, whatever it might be. It's pretty wise to go ahead and start a wedding fund, because then you're not just sitting there going, okay, where am I about to pull money out of in order to pay for this wedding? If you don't want to go into debt, and we've been very fortunate
Mhm.
to not have to, put a bunch of stuff on credit cards, and I hate credit cards.
Yeah.
But it's we've been very fortunate. But yeah, it's been crazy to say the least.
We are ready for it to.
Yeah, it's the most
To wind
expensive year of
down.
our lives. Our daughter, our 16-year-old turned 16, and we got her a car, and then 2 weddings this year, and then our daughter wrapping up Texas Tech.
Mhm.
It's been we've just been literally bleeding money.
Mhm.
When at some point you're going to be able to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm ready to get to
It's over.
January 1
Yes.
and be like,
Yeah.
okay.
New start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you excited for your kids to
Absolutely.
start their
Oh,
new
yeah,
life,
sure.
and
Yeah.
happy to do these things for them, but at the same time, it's just stressful.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It is. And it's hard. And I mean, it has been fun though. It's been fun, getting to experience that. And I mean, we've had we were talking about a lot of life changes that we've had going on. And, having a second child graduate from college is a big deal. Our 2 kids getting married, gaining 2 son-in-laws, London turning 16 and driving a car. What else did we have? Our Maddie and Garrett just bought their first house. Lexi and Austin.
Austin got
same.
drafted.
Okay.
Austin was drafted and to the New York Yankees. And
So will they move there, or what's
Well,
the plan
they
there
will
for them?
move back to Tampa in the spring,
And they're
and
actively building a
wherever
house here.
Yes.
But 6 months out of the year they'll be here. 6 months out of the year they'll be
wherever
wherever the
Okay.
Yankees
his
have
baseball
him.
career takes him.
Yeah.
So whether it be
Awesome.
here or Tampa or I think
New York.
New
Hopefully
York.
New York.
So
That's the top.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay,
So-
we've heard about Maddie and we've heard about Lexi. Give us a little insight into London.
London,
Youngest child. How old is London?
London's
She's
the
16.
baby. She's 16.
Played great last night in volleyball.
Yes.
The volleyball player.
They rocked
can,
it out.
Can
Yes.
jump out of the gym. I've seen her do that.
She's pretty.
Mhm.
She has some hops.
She's
She
got
does.
her dad's athletics abilities
Mhm.
for sure.
And her mom's brains. And her mom's
Very
her, mo-
smart,
her
yes.
mom's looks. She's beautiful.
She
Um,
is. Beautiful girl.
She's I don't know. I think she's kind of
Whose personality does she have more of?
Probably you.
probably
Okay.
more my personality.
Okay.
I would think.
She's also your
Um,
mini me.
Yes, she is my mini me.
Okay.
But I think she has more of my personality as an adult
Okay.
than as a kid.
Okay.
How do the dynamics change when you have two kids that are out of the house or in college or about to be out of the house, or however that is with Lexi? I know Maddie's been out for a while. Lexi, she's home right now, correct? But
She
she's
is.
about to be out of the house. She was out of the house for a little while in college and then finished up at home. But going from having 3 in your home to essentially really just having 1, how do the dynamics of parenting change?
I think I don't know.
Well, I'm asking the question because our oldest
Yeah.
Miller is a year
I think
and a half from being
Yeah.
gone.
I think
We're gonna have two.
I think things slowed down from the extracurricular side of things
things are not as busy. I feel like we have a lot more time, but at the same
in the evenings.
in the evenings, but at the same time, the kids have gotten older. So even though we were really busy with 3 at home and even 2 at home, we still had the younger, they were younger. And now London she's pretty independent. She's driving and, she's also at the age that, she doesn't really, she didn't want to hang out with us and, she wants to hang out with her friends and stuff like that. And, we're kind of at that uncool stage right now.
Mhm.
So
all of
we're
a sudden you're an idiot and
Yes.
the most non-cool person ever.
yes, we're still kind of in that. She hasn't got to the point that Maddie's absolutely there of, mom and dad have good advice and I should listen to them more often.
So she's
and
come back around.
Yes, she's definitely come back around to that. Lexi is getting there. She's not quite there yet, but she's almost. She's really close.
You'd
She's
say
about
like
to.
22 to 24, you feel like
Yeah.
that switch?
I really think it's kind of after they graduate college and really when they start getting into their. We tell the kids it's their big girl job.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah, put your big girl panties on,
yes,
go to work.
Yes. But I think really when they kind of get out into the real world and they're actually on their own, they're not we tried to help our kids, with paying for their rent and, and helping them pay for stuff while they were in college.
Mhm.
But once they graduated and they got a job, then it all falls on them.
I remember the
And-
first time our daughter, she had turned 16 and she went to either go out to eat with her friends or go get some ice cream or something. I think she went out to eat. She came home and said, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mom, Dad, did you know that it's $3 for a Coke at a restaurant? And I'm like, yes,
Yes.
yes, it is.
She
That's
said,
why
"I got
that's why you
Dr.
get water when I'm paying for it.
She
I
said,
always-
I got a Dr. Pepper and it was a local Mexican restaurant and they have like these Papa Nachos. And she was like, and I even split it with somebody and it was still $20. Like she could not
Yeah.
get past the cost of the food. Like,
Mhm.
thank you, Lord, we've arrived.
Yes.
I remember whenever I was
absolutely.
16, I took a girl out on a date, my first date. He's 16, and I took her to Papacitas to eat, and our meal was $11.50
For both of you,
For
probably
both
with
of
the tip.
us. Yeah, and I think we both got a drink.
And you probably had a Dr. Pepper too. Both
You
of
know,
you.
what's so funny is like nowadays, drinks are 30% of your meal. A lot of people don't realize that. You're like, oh yeah, right. And heaven forbid you have a glass of wine or something, because then it's going to be like 50% of your meal.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an incredible difference if you just drink water. If you want to save a bunch of money and save up for that wedding fund,
Yeah. Every time you go out to eat.
for the next 10 years, every time you go out to eat, drink water and take the extra 30% and put it in a wedding fund.
There you
I'm
go.
telling you,
You might be
It'll add
onto
up fast.
something.
It'll add up fast.
yeah.
But back to like how that changes when
The dynamics of
the
parenting.
the dynamics. Something that you also have to remember, it's not only just your parents and the parenting, but the kids change too. And we didn't really think about that, because I was thinking, after Maddie moved on, the laundry got a little bit less, because I had one less person to have to do laundry. And for the longest time, we would always buy 2 gallons of milk every week. And after Maddie moved out, all of a sudden we had milk. But I was still going and buying 2 gallons of milk. And then I was like, oh,
Why do we have all this milk?
I didn't realize that Maddie drank so much milk.
Okay.
Mhm.
But and it was her that was drinking it. It wasn't everybody else. It was her. But back to, really wasn't I don't think a huge adjustment for Lexi and London, because they still had each other. But we saw this more so with London when Lexi moved off after her freshman, or after she graduated high school and moved to Lubbock to go to Texas Tech. And we were thinking, oh, London's going to love it. She's going to be like an only child and she's going to get all the attention, blah, blah, blah. And I think London actually it was a huge adjustment for her. And we didn't really realize that it wasn't about being the only child and getting all the attention. She really missed her siblings. And, that's all she had ever known. She had never not knew how to be an only kid.
You could tell,
And-
yeah. It was,
And it was very,
difficult.
she went through a difficult time
Yeah.
with that. And we didn't realize that at first. And we know it never even was a thought in our minds.
And you really have, like, your kids are great. Like, when you have all 3 of them in the home, or 2, you have a built-in mentor for your youngest.
Absolutely.
That's always, now they may not get along all the time, and that's going to happen. They may fight, all these things, but you do have somebody that youngest can look to as the next step, and like, okay, I'm going to try to pattern some things after this person, because although they may drive me crazy, I do respect them.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of times that, like being the younger sibling, you go to your older siblings, you go to them for advice, because once again, mom and dad aren't always the coolest people, and mom and dad don't know everything,
Mhm.
but they go to their older siblings, and all of a sudden that was gone. And although she's got a phone and they can text, and it's not the same as them being there. And then also, London got drugged to every sporting event, every competition, every game,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden it's her turn to get to be in those games and get to be in those competitions, but there's not always a sibling there to support her. And that was hard, because Maddie, she went off to College Station, and, it was 3 hours away. And then Lexi was 7.5 hours away. And unless Lexi was going to come home for a 3-day weekend, it didn't make sense for Lexi to come home
Yeah.
for, Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, because she spent the majority of the time driving. So it made it, I think it was a big adjustment for London as well. And I think that she struggled with it, but I think Lexi's been home for the past year, saving money, doing classes online. And I think London has really enjoyed her being here, because she's had her sister back, and she can go to her, and she's at that age too. There's boy issues and friend issues, and she's just not going to talk to us about it. She's
Yeah.
would rather go to her sisters.
And these moments, these issues seem like the biggest moments of their life
Oh,
at
yeah.
the moment.
Absolutely.
We know that these things too shall pass, but for them, they're huge. So to wrap up the show, it seems pretty close to your heart about this dynamic. If you guys could just close out the show, speaking of from the parent perspective, you've given me a lot of insight for our youngest when our two are gone. Speak about some parent insight on some things that can be helpful as siblings are leaving the house and that youngest is still there. And we'll close out with that.
I'm just trying to think of kind of where to start with that. You know, whenever you're praying with your children every night and you're loving their mom, okay, for me, you know, I know that it's important. One of the most important things for your kids is to see that you're putting Christ at the helm of everything you do, okay? The second most important thing is that you love their mom. And whenever they see that, you're basically laying the foundation for them of Jesus Christ is number one in my life. Okay, that's where I go to all my problems with. But then God has mom and dad, and they're each other's helpmate, and they love each other. And so you're setting this precedent, you know, in their lives of how the family dynamic is supposed to work, right? You know, dad's here, dad's present, mom's here, mom's present, and they love us, you know, and they're placing God at the helm of all that they do. So I would absolutely know that, or I guess explain to everybody or everybody out there that maybe has young kids, it's so important to make sure that that's where your foundation is. Next is I would give everybody advice out there, not only praying with your spouse, but also pray with your kids every single night. I cannot tell you how important that is. You know, they're not going to turn from that, you know, whenever they get older, and they're going to be like, you know what, my dad always prayed. We invited Madison to come on, and mom and dad. I mean, there's so many times she's like, yeah, mom and dad prayed with me, and they don't forget that, and guaranteed they're going to do that with their own children. Now that Madison and Garrett are married, they're going to do that with their own children. So it all starts with you. You have to lay that foundation for your children. It's so important. And if you do that, and you love your spouse, and they see the loyalty there, and they see the trust that you've formed, this perfect union. And it's not perfect, but you're always they see that mom and dad, when they go through trials and tribulations, they still persevered and overcame those obstacles, and, you know, and they still love each other, and they're there today. I know that I think about all these statistics, you know, whenever you have a couple that are getting married, whenever both of their parents are together, the probability of them staying together increases substantially. I also know that whenever it's the probability of children being saved, and if the dad is a leader and he's a Christian, you know, the probability of the children is like, it's something crazy.
I think it's 93%.
Yeah. It seems like I remember 93% probability of everybody else in the family becoming a believer and a Christian. And it's part of God's plan. You know, it's why he calls his children the bride, just like you were saying earlier, Courtney. And so that's where I would really start and end, and try to give advice and be empathetic to the fact that whenever your other siblings do move out eventually, you know, for the youngest, it's a struggle for them. And we've seen that with our youngest daughter, and how that struggle can be. And, you know, aside from that, start saving for those weddings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Any closing statement? If you don't,
You pretty much nailed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah. Well, we've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I'm excited that Kat was bold and brave enough to come on.
Yeah, good job, Kat.
You did great.
Hey, way to be here. Good job.
Yep.
Hey, we appreciate you guys being here. If you're listening or watching, if you can hit those buttons at the bottom, help us reach more people for Jesus. Go kick the day in the face, and we'll catch you on the next one.